One of the bigger examples of extremism that Professor Rogoff is referencing is happening in Greece, where the economic situation is even worse than in Spain. And as a consequence, there are almost daily riots.
So we're here in Athens, Greece, which is ground zero for the global economic crisis. And as such, has seen a huge increase in radical right-wing and ultra-left-wing parties. There's literally riots every day. We're going to one now. These are the police who are going to probably fight the communists.
Greece is literally tearing itself apart. Right-wing groups, left-wing groups, anarchists and police are all fighting pitched battles through the streets of Athens. One group that particularly exemplifies this extremism in the country is the ultra-right-wing Golden Dawn. Once just a peripheral party having a reputation for being little more than neo-Nazi thugs, they're now in control of around 10% of their country's parliament, and their popularity is growing.
Illegal immigration out of my country, out of my home.
Everything that has to do with the public sector, illegal immigrants are using it for free. We should seal our borders, and next step is evolution.
Golden Dawn blames Greece's troubles on immigration, and much like other far-right groups throughout history, are not afraid to use violence to advance their political goals. Now, the Golden Dawn view what is happening in Greece effectively as full-on war. So we had to be vetted by their security before being allowed to visit one of their political headquarters. He also wanted to be very clear with us what the political philosophy of the Golden Dawn was before we went any further.
We must clear the Greek race.
You want to keep the Greek race?
We want to keep the
clean.
Greek race clean. The first thing is to go to the center of Athens, take them, put them in an airport, go to the airport, put them in an airplane, took them out.
Right. But also, if you send a lot of the immigrants back to Somalia or Afghanistan, they might be killed.
I don't care, man. I care about Greeks, not for immigrants. We don't want to kill, blacks or Asians all over the world. We just want,
To get them out.
Yes.
So after we talked with their security, we were finally okay to go to their HQ. And when we got there, they let us in on why security is so tight.
So before this building, you were in another building.
Another building in the center of Athens that anarchists put a bomb and they destroy it.
Wow.
This guy is in security of Golden Dawn.
You must be strict because you've already been bombed before in the past.
10 times.
10 times you've been bombed. How do you keep the headquarters from getting attacked?
We have our eyes open.
Here we have our shop with music, black metal, if you know.
Yeah, sure.
This is groups that support the nationalists' idea.
The Golden Dawn Black Metal Collection. And what are the books?
It's a diary of Joseph Goebbels, more a historical book for everyone that want to learn things about World War II.
World War II and Nazis and...
That does not mean that we are supporters.
No, I understand.
To speak more from a ceremony of Golden Dawn.
And this is a ceremony in Athens?
Yes.
And it's the same as the old German salute?
It's ancient Greek.
Ancient Greek?
Yes.
So these are ancient Greek symbols
Yes.
and the ancient Greek salute?
Does not mean that we support Nazis, okay?
Sure. But you have to understand if you see the flag or you see that.
I understand, but we explain that it's an ancient Greek symbols.
And as they grow in power, it seems that the Golden Dawn have realized that they have to get better at their PR. And now, almost at every turn, they'll distance themselves from being seen as Nazis or even fascists. However, this all seems a little absurd, since their party is admittedly based on a hatred of immigrants and keeping the Greek race quote-unquote clean. They also carry a flag which is remarkably similar to the swastika, still practice the infamous Nazi Sieg Heil salute, not to mention distribute books by the old Nazi Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels. Now, we were confused as to all these apparent contradictions, so we asked to meet with a parliamentary representative so they could better explain them to us.
Now, in Parliament, what's the classification for Golden Dawn? So you have Christian Democrats, you have socialists, you have communists.
Nationalism.
Nationalism. What about people that say that Golden Dawn isn't nationalist but more fascist?
fascist? Fascist, first of all, it's an Italian word, okay? We're not fascist because we're not Italian.
Right, right. So Golden Dawn won't change. We'll stay nationalist, we'll stay strong, we'll fight.
We'll fight in the parliament and on streets.
Right.
When she says the Golden Dawn will fight in the streets, she means that literally. And now the Golden Dawn not only have political power in parliament, but are also reportedly gaining more and more support amongst the ranks of the police, who in some cases have even joined in their racist beatings.
It's a chaos, the center of Athens.
How many fights in Athens are there in a year?
Too many.
Really?
It's like a championship. Every day they have fights. You know?
Really?
The level of political violence in Greece is staggering, with almost daily clashes between rival political groups. The Golden Dawn's main opponent in most of these clashes are the anarchists. Now, the anarchists are very wary of talking to us, knowing that we had already met with the Golden Dawn, but finally agreed to talk to us only if we met in a public place, in a politically neutral area, and only if we agreed to hide his identity.
So here we are in downtown Athens. So there's a lot of anarchist stuff here. There's some communist stuff. This one says anarchy equals freedom. The anarchists are fighting the Golden Dawn and the fascists.
Yeah, we're fighting them.
And how do you fight them?
It's a street war, Clashes with the cops, clashes with everything. Destroying, looting mostly. The states, they're not talking anything about Golden Dawn. They're supporting them, but they're not telling it in front of the people. They have no problems with them.
So the government and the police are supporting Golden Dawn?
Yeah, they're basically the long hand of the law.
So it's a running street fight in Athens between the Golden Dawn fascists and the anarchists just fighting all the time?
Exactly.
And why do you think there's been a rise in, let's say, anarchist groups like yourself or fascist groups like Golden Dawn?
Well, the economic crisis.
Right.
People are getting more and more frustrated about the government. You could say that history is repeating itself. Like in Germany before, Hitler rise up. It's the same thing exactly. It's all about a defense mechanism of the system. Because whenever the state is starting to have the economic crisis, they always turn out to the far right.
So in Nazi Germany, you had the Depression, Great Depression, prolonged economic crisis, you have the rise of the Nazis. Here you're saying we have a prolonged economic crisis, so the fascists are rising.
The fascists are rising.
And do you see the situation is going to get better or worse in the next little while?
It's going to be worse.
And it's not just Greece that's melting down. All across Europe, people are rising up. And as the economy continues to suffer, especially for young people, it's only going to get worse.
What are the long-term consequences of having a whole generation that didn't get into the labor force? They suffer their whole lives. I don't know how it's going to play out. I think there's a lot of uncertainty hanging over Europe. I don't think many Americans know that Europe is bigger economically than the United States. And if Europe were to have a real economic meltdown, which is linked to a political meltdown in a way, it's going to blow up. And boy, we would feel it.
Whole mountains of ice are just falling into the sea. We're in for trouble.
Indeed. This is where the Soviets tested all their weapons. This is the epicenter of a nuclear bomb.
In the last 6 months, you have 9,000 IEDs. That's an IED?
Once you get someone in, they can never leave.
Even police helicopters don't dare fly over here, because 2 years ago one was shot down by an anti-aircraft gun. Fun place to live.
Okay, let's get out of here.